shopping live stream where we go online together and look for deals, and I try to cherry pick a few. And if you're looking for anything special today, we can go online together and try and find a good deal, or I can kind of give you some guidelines to individual products and accessories. And generally, I like to focus on, beginner entry level type products, budget products, so that you can expand your photography without investing, a boatload of money. And then once you find that you really enjoy a particular accessory or gear, then maybe at that point you can invest in a professional level or higher grade product. Great examples of this would be tripods, filters, camera bags, and backpacks. These things can get really, really expensive. And if you're just starting out, sometimes you don't need like the very best, right? You just want something that's good, serviceable, will get the job done. If you happen to lose it or you don't enjoy that particular piece of gear, then it didn't, you're not out a lot of money. You can just get something else. Or, a good example would be like long exposure photography. You probably want to get an ND1000 filter. And, filters can go really expensive, or you can just try and find a deal on a budget one and see how it goes. And you can save quite a bit. Like I have a magnetic filter set that costs like $100, right? It's very high quality K&F brand, no issues at all. But today, it's been on sale for a few days now. I found a great filter set from Newer for $36. And it's practically the same quality as the K&F brand, but it's 50% off. I found Newer products to be generally 20 to 30% cheaper than, say, an equivalent from a different brand, and yet the quality is probably 99% there, if not equivalent in a lot of cases. And then other times I'll find very generic products that are brands you never heard of, but it's the same product without the labeling on it, and you can save quite a bit that way. So those are things I look for, and then also various other brands of products. So sorry, Jeff. Jeff said the audio is a little bit weird. Let me know if anyone else is hearing kind of a weird audio. I can check my settings real quick. I did make some changes, but nothing major. I just increased the gain a little bit, turned on noise suppression and a compressor, but I didn't notice any when I tested those myself. It's definitely muffled and variable. Okay, so let me see if I can fix that. Maybe I got the wrong microphone selected. Okay, that should be better. Let me know if that if that sounds okay now. But it's good to see you guys, Jeff and Marco. Marco's on the road. That's cool. Stuart, good to see you, and thank you for the feedback, ATR Bear, Anthony, and all that, everyone else. Henning, good to see you. Okay, and Ethan, thank you again so much for your recent donation. For those of you that may be new to the channel, I'm trying to run my live streams ad-free so we can sort of spend our time together here without interruptions. And so I'm going to rely even more on, you guys using my affiliate links, like a lot of things we'll be talking about today, or, becoming a member to support the live streams for 99 cents a month, and or direct donations and super chats, all that good stuff. It's all makes a huge difference. And I did it last month for the first time, and it sort of I sort of broke even, like running ads versus not running ads.
through the donations and things like that. And so I'm going to try another month. I don't have enough data points to kind of make a final decision or not on that, but uh, for at least this month, I'm gonna run these streams ad free. So if you'd like to support that ad free live streaming, again, all of the different ways, there'll be links down below to do that. Um, so let me just get right into the deals, and we will talk about some of these. So I have my standard deal page. I'm starting to break out by camera system. So Nikon, Fuji, OM Systems, flash photography, Canon, miscellaneous stuff here and the little things, and then tripods and monopods. So my Amazon shopping page, I'm starting to narrow it down a little bit more, so that it's easier to find something to a particular camera system you might be looking at. Of course, I'm most familiar with OM Systems, so a lot of the gear on my pick page will be related to that. But I try to include other things as well if there's a particularly good deal. So I did find a couple of interesting things this week. Uh, this is the this is from Amazon Japan, but you can buy it through the USA website. It just takes a little longer to get the product, a couple of weeks. And when you order from this through Amazon, there's no warranty, but the prices are usually uh, pretty close to if you were to try to buy used one on eBay or something. And this is a great example. The Olympus 45 millimeter f1.8. This one is in silver, brand new, $182. Uh, used ones cost that much or more. In mint condition, and this is better than mint. This is brand new. They have the black one for even less, $176. So these are, about 35% off. So pick your color and get a great deal on a great lens. It's very compact, has great image quality. It's a great portrait lens. It's a great street lens. I mean, the 45 millimeter on micro four thirds, of course, gives you a 90 millimeter equivalent for those of you that still kind of think in full frame or 35 millimeter terms. Uh, but yeah, this is a great lens. And this was an interesting lens. It's not on, it's only 5% off on checkout. So always make sure you check these little links below the price so that you can get that 5%. But this is a 50 millimeter full frame lens with an f1.1 aperture. It's manual focus, but it has a beautiful all metal build. Comes with the lens hood, and there's not very many reviews, so this is probably a relatively new lens from some third party. And it also has a 52 millimeter ring size, which is a very common ring size for the vintage lenses from Nikon. A lot of Nikon lenses have that 52 millimeter filter thread. So you may, if you're a longtime Nikon shooter, you may have a lot of filters and things that you can use with this lens right off the bat. So, 50 millimeter 1.1, great portrait lens, great for low light, and it's full frame. If you put this on your APS-C Nikon, of course, you're going to get a great portrait lens. So I think this is worth giving a shot. I don't know anything about this lens, but I would, all I can say is worst case scenario, you return it if you don't like it. I wouldn't expect it to be tack sharp. They're not giving like any MTF charts or any kind of data, and there's no reviews on this lens anywhere because it is relatively new. Uh, but I would imagine it's going to give you a very vintage feel. So a lot of times, if you're looking for a vintage lens, they can cost more than this. And then you have to worry about, the fungus and dust and haze. Haze is a big problem, really. Fungus, not so much. If you can kill it, it's okay, unless it's on the rear element. But there's a lot of problems when buying vintage lenses because they're 40, 50 years old. This one's brand new, and I guarantee it's going to be give you a very, very similar feel and look as any vintage lens that you would buy, but you can buy this brand new. So I thought this was a great uh, find here at a really good price. And then this is another lens that I haven't talked about much, but this would make a great portrait lens as well. And it's a very fast 35 millimeter f1.2 for micro four thirds, but it has an APS-C image circle. So it's also available for Canon, RF, Fuji, Nikon. Just keep in mind that this has an APS-C image circle. So you're going to get heavy vignetting if you use it on a full frame. But what I like about this lens is it's very compact, very small for the aperture that we're getting. And it looks very, very similar to a CCTV lens, uh, but I don't think it is. I think this is an actual lens design, but I don't know for a fact. But the fast aperture, the all metal build quality, it's manual focus, $79. And I'm thinking about getting this to replace my 35 millimeter 0.95 because the 0.95 lens is pretty big and bulky and it doesn't work on a lot of my cameras. It just, when I attach it to my camera, the 35 millimeter 0.95 lens blacks out my camera and it just won't work. Whereas this one should be fine. I don't know for a fact, but for $79, I'm thinking about giving it a try. It's because it's not very expensive and 1.2 is very, very fast. So I don't see why not. Okay, and then this is for this is an adapter for the Nikon I'm sorry, the Sony ZV-1. They're a little compact camera, and it's a great little camera. I honestly I think it's basically a replacement for the famed RX100 series from Sony. It just doesn't have an EVF, but other than that, it's pretty much the same camera. But with the latest autofocusing and more, and you can get a, anyway. And it's a lot cheaper than buying an RX100. Uh, so this is a great adapter because the ZV-1 has a 24 millimeter field of view, uh, but this will widen it out to 18 millimeters. But it's also an extension tube attachment. So if you want to do some macro work, they're claiming a 10x macro. So I thought this was a great accessory for those of you that have the Sony ZV-1, and it's 21% off. This is the lowest price in the last 30 days. So $55. I think this is a good deal for those of you that have this camera. And honestly, the ZV-1 was a camera I was strongly considering for myself, uh, but I ended up not doing it because I just can't imagine. I have so many compact cameras that do a great job. They're not 1-inch sensor cameras, but they take great pictures. So I decided not to go with the ZV-1. But those of you that did, and I understand why, because it's a great camera. This will be a great accessory or attachment for it. Okay. Let me go back to the chat real quick before I go any further, because I need to arrange my windows so I can make sure I didn't go offline or uh, have any issues. And if you guys have any questions or are looking for something, or have, questions about anything that I've bought, because I'm always buying things. Every time I go to a photo club meet up now, people are asking me, what neat things did you bring today? And because I always have something. I splurged a lot during Prime Day, so I got a lot of different accessories. Um, and all of them I've been very happy with except one. Let me show you that because I meant to show you that last time, and I hopefully I'm still in the return window. I mean, it's like an $8 item, but I was looking for a uh, a small stool or bench that would be even more compact. This is something I could slide into the back of my backpack because it unfolds. It's paper thin, but you sort of open this up, and it's a pain in the ass. But you're supposed to be able to open this up and convert it into a chair or a stool. Yeah, like this. So something like this, right? And then you just kind of sit down on it. But honestly, it's just a little bit too short. And the way this plastic folds, it's really hard to see. This is going to crack and wear out eventually, sooner than later, believe it or not, is my opinion. So, yeah, I paid $8 for this. It was a waste of money. I I I don't recommend this thing if you were thinking about getting it. Okay. Um, all right, so I found some interesting filters. This one here, the kaleidoscope filter, the 77 millimeter thread is on sale for $12.49. And it looks like there's another 16% coupon. So this would be like $10. Now the 77 millimeter filter thread is pretty big, if you're in the micro four thirds system. But if you're in to DSLRs or full frame, even APS-C DSLRs and full frame mirrorless cameras, 77 is a little bit more common. Uh, so I think, and it's kind of important with the kaleidoscope filter to try to get the right size to get the correct effect that you want. Because if you try to put this on a smaller sensor camera, it's not going to kaleidoscope quite the same as if you put it onto a lens that fits it properly. So I'm thinking I can get this lens for about $10 or $11 with the additional 16% coupon. And the lens I'm thinking about putting it on is my Sigma 17 to 50 f2.8. The Sigma 17 to 50, and there's some other vintage DSLR lenses that have that filter size, but that was a very popular lens. Pretty high quality, and you can buy those pretty cheap, like I did. I paid 100 and I don't know, less than $150 for it. Uh, it's this one here. I got it for my Pentax monochrome to replace my the awful kit lens that Pentax makes for these cameras. But this has the 77 millimeter filter thread. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of mix it up a little bit. Monochrome images with kaleidoscope. I also have my Pentax K3. So if I want to do color kaleidoscopes in camera, so yeah, I think this would be kind of fun. Let me see if I can redeem that and add to my cart. Yeah, that looks good. Another filter that I found was this polarizer with a 37 millimeter filter thread, $15. And this is the filter thread that will fit the kit lens. Now, what I had been doing in the past was using step rings to use a polarizer on this lens. And it's just kind of cumbersome because I have to take the lens hood off, I have a cheap rubber lens hood on it, and then screw on the polarizer or step rings and then the polarizer. And it was just really awkward. I'd rather have a dedicated circular polarizer for this lens because this lens, this 14 to 42 easy lens, or even the regular manual zoom lens, is perfect on the OM3. Takes great images. I think the 14 to 42 easy lens is even a little sharper than the standard zoom lens. So, and I always say polarizers, ND filters, these are must-haves for any photographer. And if you can save some money getting a decent filter, a serviceable filter, because that's all I need. I'm just putting it on a kit lens. I don't want to spend $100 on a B&W, circular polarizer. It's ridiculous. I'll just get this one for $15, throw it on here, and I'll get the effect that I want with a little post-processing. It's very hard to tell the difference between a kit lens and a pro lens, for the kind of images that I take. Uh, Case in point, uh, if you look at a recent image I did here, this is this is on my Flickr page. This is basically a 21 shot pano. I ended up scrapping two of the images because I didn't line it up right. 287 megapixels uh, using the kit lens. And if you zoom in, the detail is amazing. So I did 21 high-res shot mode, the handheld version, on this landscape or waterfall, and stitched together a 287 megapixel image using the kit lens. I might have it. Let's see. Where is it? These are the Pentax ones. Maybe it's in my pano. Yeah, here it is. 28,314 pixels by 3,000 or 10,131. And this is a 100% zoom. So if I back out and just go right to the center here, how about this waterfall? Just the detail is amazing. And if I go to 200%, it's just shocking how much detail I was able to squeeze out of this little bitty kit lens. I shot this at f8, handheld high-res shot mode, did a panorama. But anyway, I just wanted to express to you why I'm getting a dedicated, how do I'm getting this dedicated polarizer to it because I use this lens all the time, the 14 to 42 kit lens. The only time I really bring out the 12 to 40 Pro is when I'm doing event photography and I'm typically in low light a lot of times indoors. So I need the faster aperture for the low light scenarios. Anyhow, uh, but when I'm doing my photo walks and everything else, this is all I need. So I have it in my shopping cart along with this kaleidoscope lens. So I'm going to get those today for myself, just for fun. And that's what photography is all about, really. Okay, let's go back to my deal page. And I see Roger has a question. I'll come back to you on that one. There's a couple other filters here for sale. This Koken square filter, it's not a square filter, but it fits in the uh, square filter system, mount, because basically it's 100 millimeter. It looks like it comes with the mount. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see, 20. If it comes with the mount, I might just get this. Fits the Koken. Okay, country. Okay, so it fits. Yeah, it doesn't come with the mount. It almost looks like it does because they have a picture of it. But you can buy the mount for $10. They have it right here. Uh, it's basically $25 for an infrared filter uh, of and this is Koken brand. This is not cheap. This is not some cheap knockoff filter. This is a high quality filter. So if you already have a 100 millimeter filter holder set and you want to get into infrared photography and you want a quality infrared filter, instead of paying $95 for it, you can get it for $25. That's a killer deal. I have a filter set, but I have normal. I need to use. I already have infrared filters. Otherwise, I would get this for myself. Uh, and then another interesting filter is this sort of blurs out the left and right side, or however you rotate the filter on your lens. But it just has a little slit in the middle for, excuse me, it just has a little slit in the middle for uh, to keep things in focus, and the left and right or top and bottom, however you want to do it. It's not too dissimilar from, say, the Orton effect, and you can do it in camera. And there's also, it looks like another 16% coupon. I don't see personally a lot of use for this because I don't do portraits that much. But if I did, this would be an interesting, fun filter to add to doing portraits and things. And the 58 millimeter, the 67 millimeter are on sale, half price, basically. So for 10 $11, you can get, kind of a fun filter. Uh, okay, yeah, this is the filter I'm getting. And then now this is the front and rear body cap for, so you have a body cap, and you have the rear lens cap. I don't know about you, but when I'm buying extension tubes and adapters, like adapting my Nikon glass to my Micro Four Thirds, I'm always short, particularly rear lens caps. But you can use the front and rear lens caps to cap off your extension tubes, and so that so that they can stay clean while they're in your bag. Because if you get dust inside your extension tubes because you're not covering them, that dust can get onto your sensor, can get into your lens. So I think for $4 you can get the body cap and the rear cap, and cap off your adapters and extension tubes. Because I have multiple extension tubes and adapters, and this is a great way to keep those clean and travel with them. And if you just happen to lost your body cap or rear lens cap, these are great replacements for $4, 50% off. And another interesting light. This came up a few weeks ago with Ethan. I think we looked at this lighting set for $16 from Small Rig. These are 5 watt lamps. Small Rig, generally they vet the products that they sell. I don't know if they manufacture their own products, but they certainly vet the products to meet a certain standard that they're going to put their name on. Small Rig has kind of developed a name for themselves, and they're they're going to do their best not to sell you the cheapest crap out there. So I think this looks like a good deal. $16 for a 5 watt LED light. It has it's the Kelvin temperature is adjustable, which is important. I mean, it's not an RGB light where you can choose red, green, blue, but you can adjust the Kelvin temperature to match the ambient lighting. So I think this is great. I would use this for, like, the example they're showing here is close-up photography. So you don't, because a lot of times you can struggle a little bit using a small flash sometimes because of the recycle times. And all you need is just a little bit of extra light. Why not use an LED light instead of a flash for your macro photography? And it's already diffused and pretty large relative to whatever subject, particularly if you're doing macro. So you don't need to attach a separate diffuser. So there's a lot of conveniences here using an LED light on your camera, say, versus using a flash. Because a flash typically you have to use on camera with a diffuser. This LED light, you can use it on or off camera and get great lighting without all the complication of using flash. So I think this is a great option, and it's a good price and a good brand. Now, there's a few other things here. Uh, the Western Digital 14 terabyte Elements drive, the only difference really from what I've read between like the Western Digital Elements drive and their higher end drives is the warranty, but they use basically the same drive inside because I've seen teardowns where they take the drive out and it's the same drive that they're using in their other enclosures. But that said, even if it is a different drive that Western Digital uses in these, I've never had a problem with Western Digital. My experience has been uh, very high reliability with Western Digital. 14 terabytes for 199. This is an excellent deal. Uh, this was on sale once for like $179, but we're not going to see that price more than once a year. This 199 price is a price we'll see time to time, so we have more opportunity to get this drive at a good deal. I'm thinking about this because I'm running a little bit low on hard drive space right now, and it's taking, I have to do a lot of compressing and culling of deleting images basically to maintain my current hard drive status. This would solve a lot of problems for 200 bucks. So I'm thinking about this for myself, but if you're looking shopping for some additional storage, I can highly recommend Western Digital. This price is really good. It's not the best price of the year. Like I said, that's once a year. I'll see this for like $180 instead of $200. But this $200 price point doesn't happen that often. And when it does, and if you're shopping for a hard drive, this is the time to get it. Okay, and then I found a few additional bags, and this one's the most interesting because it's 45% off. And they have a claim get one free item. And basically, what you get is a camera strap in addition to uh, the bag. So you can get this bag with a camera strap that's probably worth $10. You're getting this bag for 45% off. It was $45, now it's $25. So it's going to be good. Carry-On makes great quality bags. This looks like a really nice canvas nylon material. It's a perfect size for Micro Four Thirds and APS-C cameras. It has the sort of the Peak Designish style dividers, so these are very flexible. Lots of pockets, zippered weather sealing, detachable strap. The strap lugs are stitched into the bag. This has everything I'm looking for in a quality bag or in terms of features. And I'm sure this is a very good quality bag because I have a Terry-On canvas bag that I really like. And this is 7 liters. So it's just a hair bigger than the standard 6-liter bags that you find. So you got a little more wiggle room for particularly if you shoot APS-C or even full frame. Uh, but this is better for APS-C and Micro Four Thirds because you can carry plenty of stuff in here. Your flash, couple lenses, triggers, filters, batteries, tabletop tripod, everything you need you can fit into this bag. And you can go shooting all day long. And I think it's a pretty handsome bag. It's got this kind of neat diamond pattern on the front. Uh, a great handle on the back. So yeah, this looks great. $25. I have so many bags now. I would get it, but I have so many now. Elano, if you like a little bit more vinyl, smooth vinyl instead of more of that canvas nylon. This is not a bad option. It's $35 and also looks to be very, very high quality. And it looks larger than 7 liters to me. They don't state the actual uh, volume, but they should give the dimensions here. So this bag is pretty big. 13 inches long by 5.5 inches wide and 9 inches high. So this is really good. You could easily carry the 300 f4 in here with your micro four thirds, or if you're shooting APS-C, you can put in your 75 to 300, your 70 to 200 f4. This is a good size bag, being 13 inches wide, and you can throw in a laptop or tablet. And it looks to be good quality materials. Again, we have a stitched in strap. We have nice loops here on the zippers, and you know the stitch has a buckle. The strap has a buckle, so you can remove it if you need to. And the rear handle also acts as a carry system for luggage. So yeah, I think $35 is not bad. It's certainly cheaper than say Peak Design and a lot of other camera bag systems that are much, much more expensive. This is the kind of bag lasts you 2, 3 years, and then if you use it on a regular basis, if you use it a lot, maybe less than 2 years, but you didn't pay a lot for it, and you just buy another one in a couple of years if you need to. But I would suspect you wouldn't need to. Not a lot of us go out every single day and shoot. Uh, but yeah, I think this is a great deal. Um, and let's see, this bag has gotten good feedback. I know a lot of you bought this bag when it was on sale for like $15. I think it was this bag. Right now it's down to $23, $24. It's still a good deal. Still a good bag at that price. So if you need a sling bag, a shoulder bag, 23, $24, it's hard to beat. And then the last thing I'll touch on is this filter set. I know some of you bought this when it was on sale last week, but it's still on sale. 62 millimeter magnetic filter set that has an ND1000, which is great for long exposure photography in the daytime, circular polarizer, and then a UV filter, which you can use to protect your lens when you're like at the beach and you don't want to get splashed saltwater spray on your lens. You can put the UV filter. Otherwise, I wouldn't use the UV filter outside of very certain situations where I think the front element might get wet or dirty. But I mean, I'm sorry, it's closer to $37. This is a great deal. The 62 millimeter filter thread fits, the 12 to 40 Pro, which is what I would use this on. It comes with a filter holder case. The filter holder case alone is worth like $15. And you get the metal lens cap. So you get the lens cap, ND1000, CPL, UV, and filter pouch holder for for $37. I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer. If you want to get into, and you'll really love using filters once you start using them. This is the lowest price point of entry for a great magnetic set. The magnetic set is so simple to use. Uh, you don't have to worry about screwing and unscrewing. They just pop on and off. And I love my magnetic filter set. I have like $100 one, but this one, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference between my set and this. There'll be certain situations maybe with glare, but I don't own this set, so I don't know. It may be even better than my $100 set. but it's normally sells for $74. And it has all the coatings and all of that as advertised. I think this is a great deal. So if you don't have a filter set for your 12 to 40 Pro, this is the one to get at this price right now. Okay, and that is pretty much it. I've talked about a lot of these other things on my deal page in the past. You can skim through these if you have any questions about any of the things I put on this page. I'll be happy to answer them. So let me go back to the chat and talk about the pano that I did. And I'm going to pull up the tripod that I used. So I used this tripod. I got this on Prime Day for $169. But even at $199, this is a great tripod. For if you want to do panos, I mean, there's a lot of fussing about with it when you're doing panos, but once you do them, you get really great results. So, oh, is there such a thing as I've not seen that. I've not seen it. But what you want to do is add a magnetic ring to your existing filter set, then use them as magnetic filters, right? Uh, I haven't seen it. I'm sure somebody's doing it, but I haven't seen it. But that's a great question. So let me go back up. Oh, let me see what Adam. Hey, Adam says not to beat the sling bag for under $15 deal to death, but much like the pro bag you suggested years ago, you have an excellent perspective when you describe and share deals. Oh, okay, thanks. I appreciate that. Uh, yeah, because I buy the stuff myself 9 times out of 10, and I put a lot of thought into how I spend my money because I make so little that I want to make sure it was well spent. Uh, and I'm just sharing that experience with you guys in these live streams and trying to make a few bucks in affiliate money, right? Okay, so Roger asked, on your panel, how do you not have problems stitching the water area? Okay, so if we look at this image, let me pull up a smaller version of it. Well, actually, I have all of the individual images here. Uh, Basically, I'm crossing over 1/3 at a time. So let's look at this. Let me close your comment here so we can get a clear view of this. So here's one frame, right? This is at 40. Let's see what the dimensions. Let me just check the EXIF here. This is 40. Oh, I used the 40 to 150 kit lens on this, not the 14 to 42. My mistake. So this is at 40 millimeters, 80 millimeter equivalent, of course, with micro four thirds. I love the 40 to 150. The 14 to 42 and the 40 to 150 kit lenses are awesome, especially for this kind of stuff. Uh, but the key is really the overlap. So this is image one, and look at the waterfall here. And then if we go to image two, the waterfall's over here. So it's only moved like 30% between this. Let me see if I can put these side by side. I'll put that one there too. And well, let's just start with these two. Let's not make it too complicated. So here are the two images side by side as I'm panning, right, to capture the images. And the stitching software has so many things to grab onto, all these rocks and trees, that it basically ignores the water because the water is a moving element. And I never have any problems when I stitch this way. Uh, it's very rare I run into problems with the stitching, especially with the new software I'm using, which is free. It's called the Kolar APG, Auto Panic Giga or whatever. And I'll just type the name in the chat section just so you can find it online. Color or Color APG. If you Google that, you'll find it and you can download it for free. It's a little tricky to get it to work on Windows, and they give you the key, the unlock, the registration key so you can use the software. It's all there in the instructions, but read the instructions very carefully. If it doesn't work right out of the box on your Windows machine, I think it works just fine on Apple without getting, without trying to pull a trick up your sleeve. But on Windows, I had to kind of install a certain driver or something onto my computer to get it to work. But the instructions are there and they're very clear. And I got it to work just fine. Uh, but the way stitching software works, as I'm sure everyone's familiar, is it tries to find multiple points that match between the two images. And there's plenty of meat here for it to grab onto. And then it just ignores all the water. Uh, so, if I go to like here's a set of 4 images. I'm right around in this area, but I'm just overlapping 1/3 at a time. And I'm using the grid in the viewfinder or live view to overlap by 1/3 at a time. So rule of thirds grid in the viewfinder and then just lining up the points. Even this area that has a lot of water, there's still plenty of points up here for it to bite onto. So given that, let me open up APG. Uh, and I might be able to open up this project. I'm still getting a feel for how to use the software. Uh-oh, hold on. My computer is suddenly dragging its feet. Oh, I'm not seeing it. Let me try it this way. Let's go to 4 panos. All right, so here, if we look at this, can I? Yeah, so this is 29 images stitched together. I should have stitched 30. I missed one over here in the corner because I just lost count. But I was using that new tripod that I showed you earlier, and you can see what a beautiful job it did. I mean, it's a little bit off, because I didn't have it perfectly level, but this thing did an amazing, amazing job. Hold on, oh, shoot. How do I get back to, yeah, I missed one image right over here because I didn't pan over. I panned over 9 times, I think, instead of 10. So this was supposed to be a 10 by 3 panel, 3 rows, 10 shots each. And it stitched it together perfectly. I had no problems at all. You can look at, let's go back to the original image. This is another one I did. This one I did in regular at the regular 20 megapixel, and I didn't do it at the high res shot mode. But I mean, this is basically one frame, and I can see every, hair and wrinkle and how many diamonds are in her wedding band here. Uh, and she's just a little tiny part of that frame, right? You can read the letters on her hat. It's a friend of mine. Uh, a little bit overexposure here. I did edit this photo. I didn't do a good job editing it, but the stitching was perfect. It's a little crooked because my tripod was on sand. So as I was panning it, it kind of lost ground a little bit, I think, along the way. And I think that's partially why it's a little bit off. But this, yeah, I missed one here. That still bothers me. But hopefully that answers your question. And I owe a lot to I owe a lot to getting this tripod, being able to stitch together or um, be able to get a nice clean stitching job. Made it very easy for the panorama software to stitch my images together because I gave it very good images to start with. They were all lined up properly. They were overlapping by 30%, and there was lots of things for the stitching software to bite into to line things up. So yeah, and this has an inverted ball head, a separate rotator, and then also the fluid head on top for uh, changing rows. So I start with one row, then I can easily go to the next row by tilting the fluid head. And everything stays perfectly level because it's an inverted ball head. So I level the ball head first, and then I set the horizontal angle, and then I start my rotation from left to right, and then uh, and then think about how many rows I want to do based on the focal length, all of that stuff. So if you do panoramas a lot, if you want to get into doing panoramas and getting these huge 300 megapixel images, uh, that's the time to buy a dedicated tripod for doing those exact kind of things. The nice thing about this tripod, it's kind of a hybrid. I can use it for just as an everyday tripod. It's not quite as convenient as a single ball head that has one knob, right? Those are the easiest to use every day as an everyday tripod. But I could, I just, why bring two tripods? I just bring this one in case I feel like doing a pano. Uh, but time to time, I'll use my other tripod because it's just one knob, right? And then I can adjust the camera what I want, get my single shot. Like for long exposure photography, you don't need to get all fancy like panoramas, right? Panoramas, I got one, two, three, four different dials that I have to adjust, to get it to go in the direction I want. So I have the horizontal dial, the tilt dial, the leveling dial, and then there's the separate knob for the nodal point, right? Because I also adjusted for the nodal point as much as I could. So you have to adjust four different accesses basically to get a really clean stitch on your panos. And I'm still getting through that workflow. I don't have it quite down yet. I'm practicing a lot with this tripod to kind of get that workflow down. And then I'll be able to explain a little better, maybe do a video. I don't know, but I'm having a lot of fun. And Coke and filter go way back. I started using those in 1985. Still look good today. Yep. Yeah, I mean, Coke has been around for as long as I've been doing photography, which is 12 years now. And speaking of color temperature, are there small light meters that measure that? Yes, there are. They're expensive though, 400 bucks. Uh, I got a deal on one. I only paid $100, but they were bought out, I think, by Data Color, and now they're $400. Because the company that originally designed it went out of business and sold out to Data Color. But originally they were charging $400 for this little light meter. But it's a light meter with Bluetooth, so you have to use a phone app with it. Um, it's called Light Color by Data Color. I guess this is it here. And I don't have anything connected, so I can't show you all the. I honestly I don't find I need to measure kelvins uh very often. I just use a gray card if I want to make sure the white balance is correct in post processing. Measuring Kelvin, I mean, I don't know what your application is, but for me, I don't find it very necessary. A lot of people like to use them to calibrate their flashes and things like that in their LED lighting. Uh, but a lot of LED lighting have apps now that calibrate your LED light temperature. So I know like some of the LED lighting I've reviewed, I didn't really talk about it in the review, but the app has a setting where you can shine the light onto a gray card and then calibrate it so that that is neutral. So if you're worried about Kelvin, measuring Kelvin because you want to try to get the correct white balance, it's a little bit overkill. I think you can just use a gray card. You know, you just get one of these. You know, these things, right? They sell cheap ones. This is like $100, but uh, or just use a white piece of paper. You know, I but I don't know what your application is. I'm oversimplifying it possibly for whatever you're thinking about doing. So if you could elaborate a little bit more why you want to measure Kelvin temperature, uh, then I'll understand a little better what you need it for. Because the little device, it should be right here. I don't know why it's not like on my desk here. Paid $100 for that. It's not cheap to replace because I have to pay 400 if I want to get it now. It's around here somewhere. It's only this big. It's a little triangle about this big. Uh, but to get the good ones, the Seikonic makes one. They're over $1,000. If you really want to measure Kelvin temperature accurately with lots of additional features, the Seikonic one is the way to go. Even used, they're over $1,000 because they're just that good. But I don't, like I said, I don't have anything in my workflow that requires me to know exactly the Kelvin temperature of something because I'm always overcorrecting it for white balance anyway. So my Hunt's photo dealer says to use the clear protection filter and not the UV filter on digital. Yes. Uh, so they make filters that are protection only, right, with no effect on it. Uh, so if you're going to use a protection filter 24/7 on your lens, that's the way to go. The UV filters, my point about the UV filters and these little cheap kits, filter kits that they come with like a UV filter, they have very little effect really on the image quality of your photo, but it can have some effect. And I would only use it to protect your front element from sand and water spray, salt water spray particularly, but any kind of water spots that could get onto your lens for a particular scene. Rest of the time, I wouldn't use a UV filter. If I wanted to use a filter, I would use like what Roger's talking about, an actual protection filter that is designed to have some, at least a little more hardness to it than a standard UV filter. And standard UV filters are just for the way I recommend it, I should say, is only use it for very rare situations where you're worried about getting stuff on the front element for particular situations. But Hunts is talking about, I'm sure what Hunts is talking about is if you want to have a permanent protection filter, you want to get the ones that don't have any optical corrections to it. No filtering, no polarizing, all of that stuff. You want it to just be as clear as possible and have a certain hardness to it so it doesn't just break as soon as you drop the lens. It should have a little more rigidity to it and resistance. All right. So that's that. I don't see how if Roger didn't expand on the Kelvin temperature thing, but let me find it for you. I'll at least show you a picture of it. Oh, it's right here. So this thing, this one was made by the older company. Now these are branded with data color. But I'll just turn this on, right? So I'll turn this on, and it has a quarter 20 screw, so I can put this on. Uh, so now it should pair. I'm gonna try and pair it to my phone. Oh, I've never seen this screen before. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Now it says connect. Now it's connecting. Ah, maybe the batteries are low. Try one more time. Otherwise, I'm gonna swap the batteries. The batteries normally last pretty long, but I'm using these really old rechargeables in them, so it they drain pretty quick. Yeah, I gotta swap the batteries. Hold on. I need to get a new set of AAA. Just uses AAA batteries. I need to get a new set of AAA rechargeables. These are about 4 years old. Ugh, come on. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm having a hard time because this only goes on one way. Where's the hole? There it is. All right. So if I put that side in first, there we go. Let me turn it on now. This should connect now. All right. Maybe it's my phone. Close all, optimize. Let me clear out some stuff. I hate phones and apps. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm always struggling with this freaking thing. Okay, light color, devices, connect. I can't get it to connect today. That's weird. It's my Bluetooth. Oh, I turned Wi-Fi off. All right, hold on. Let's try it again. Well, I'm not going to be able to demo this. Connect. I usually use my I never use my phone actually. I normally use my iPad. It'll connect to that. Hold on. All right. And this will be easier to show in the stream too. All right, so devices, connect. Yeah, connected right away. So let me expand this. So light color meter, simple color, and let's take a reading. So change this to monitor ambient. So right now, the temperature on me is, or let's put it over here. Yeah, so the temperature of my light over here is reading 5,000, 5,200 Kelvin, right? And I have the light set to my LED light, I have it set to 5,300 Kelvin. And when I put my light meter up to it, it's reading 5250. So the LED light that I'm using, I set it to 53 and I'm reading 5250, which makes sense because the LED light's going through a diffuser, so that might be warming it up a tiny bit. So it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate, but you have to use an app with it. So I think my problem is this was trying to connect to my iPad and phone at the same time, which was a problem. Uh, but I got lucky and bought it when they were going out of business. I got this on clearance for $100. But let me show you on. Let me see if they have it here. Data color meter. Let me see if they have it on Amazon. They do. So this is the one that I bought. Uh, this set right here. Oh, $349. So I'll give you my affiliate link for this if you're interested. I I bought this thing maybe 2 years ago, maybe three. It's never gone below $400. This is the first time I've seen it for 349. Uh, but I use it a lot for doing the reviews on flash photography and LED lighting. I check the temperature readings of the flash, the LED lights, of course, using this. Uh, and then I also use it to measure the power output of the flashes. So that's how I know, like the Godox V480 that I recently reviewed, I was able to use this app to kind of give me an idea of how much brighter or darker the V480 was versus, say, the Godox V1. And then It also gives you readings in lux, and there's a graph here. I don't know. I guess people that are in this industry, they might appreciate some of these other features, where they deal with color all the time. They probably recognize a lot of this stuff. You know, I this gives me the lux. So right now I'm getting, if I put this up, let me set this to ambient. So this light is outputting at, let's say that's about 1 meter. So I'm getting 345 lux at 1 meter. Temperature is 5170 with no shift in green or blue. So pretty good lighting on me overall. But like I said, I use it primarily for this app here. Okay. Was just wondering if there's any need to get the color temperature outdoors, not that you could make any adjustments. A gray card is probably the way to go for, but yeah. Yeah, if you're just trying to measure the temperature, the only time you really need, I mean, the cameras do a good job with auto white balance as it is. The only time you really need to be critical is when you're using filters, particularly ND filters, because ND filters and polarizers can introduce a slight color shift. Um, so having a color card, a gray card, white piece of paper, whatever, helps a lot with correcting for that in post-processing. If you're just shooting landscapes, things like that, usually the white balance I get straight out of camera is perfectly fine. And but I use whenever I do portraits or anytime, particularly if I'm using flash or I'm using because with flash a lot of times I use a 5-stop ND filter when I'm doing portraits. So getting the color accurate as possible just gives me a little peace of mind. Because sometimes my dying eyes, I cannot get the color right when I'm post processing if I didn't get a gray card reading right from the camera to begin with. Sometimes different lenses have separate uh, slight color shifts in them, and people that are in product photography, if they're critical about their color, they use, they have a full color workflow, which would include something like this, right? So, but what you're talking about, yeah, a gray card just makes the most sense, or a white piece of paper. They say you should use like tissue paper instead of like regular writing paper or copy paper, because copy paper has some kind of glue in it that can shift the white balance. So use tissue paper, which doesn't have the same glue that copy paper does. And that would be the most accurate white balance. So I don't know if I showed this or not while I was giving you the link, but this is now branded data color. It's a reasonable price because the alternative is the Seiconic color meter, right? The Seiconic color meter, holy crap. The C800, these are really expensive. But you can see it's an all-in-one device. You don't need a separate app, and it has a ton of features. Okay. Anything else? Let's see. The Sigma Weather WR protection filters are half the price of the OM system protection filters that you are on OM system accessory store. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about protection filters other than there's a reason people make them. So I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. I wouldn't use them unless you really want that protection all the time. I always try to use a lens hood. So if the lens does drop on its own, or I want to set it down, I know I'm not going to set it down on the glass. I'm going to set it down on the metal lens hood. Uh, but I get it. I get it. Everyone has a different workflow, and protection filters might make sense for your workflow and your environment. All right. So, any other questions about anything? Are you guys shopping for anything? I know I've been shopping to death. There's some great tripod deals in here. I have a very, very high level of confidence of everything I'm recommending in here. Um, I put a lot of thought into everything that's here on my picks page. Even though they're not at the very best price of the year, these are pretty reasonable. Oh, I might have to, no, that's still a good deal there. That's an interesting filter. Filter wrenches are very useful. If you're not using a magnetic system, filter wrenches help a lot. I bought mine a couple of months ago, and it's been great. So I just need to order these two things today for myself. Let me just check a couple other things, and I'll wait for questions if you guys have any. What did I add into the home systems block? I remember 2 weeks ago, Marco was asking about a wide angle rectilinear lens for micro four thirds. And I don't remember if I mentioned this one, but it's the TT Artisan's 10 millimeter f2. Because he specifically said f2 or faster. That's less than 12 millimeters. So this meets all the criteria, and it's $169, and it's a decent lens. It's not as good as the 8 millimeter f1.8 Pro lens from Olympus, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. It's a very good lens. Uh, okay, that's that. And then I added the most recent thing I added here was the uh, Fujifilm camera. This one. Right now, I've pretty much just put lenses in here. I'm a big fan of all the Viltrox lenses because for the price of a single good prime from Fuji, you can buy like three Viltrox lenses that, for all intents and purposes, are going to be just as good as the Fuji lens, in my opinion. And Frank says, doesn't Panasonic do a 9 mil? Yeah. He was asking for something other than that. I don't know why. Yeah, Marco was familiar with the 9 millimeter Panasonic. So yeah, that came up almost right away when he brought up the question. But uh, that's a $500 lens, right? This one is 169. So I think that was the thing, was he didn't want to spend $500. So I was giving him alternatives for, in this case, $169. Uh, and then Jim says, any suggestions for color adjusting your monitor for better printing results? Yeah, uh, I use another thing from the same company, Data Color, because you're not going to eyeball it, basically, right? But yeah, this works well, and it's very fast. Because there's other ones that take longer. This one's pretty fast and does a good job. So I can't remember the difference between the regular and the pro version, but I would recommend just get the regular. I have the pro version, but the regular seems like it does the same thing. The pro version, I think, is like if you want to calibrate multiple monitors within the same studio so that everybody's seeing the same colors. It has some additional features and things like that. But I should put this into one of my lists, miscellaneous things. But that's what I use. And it's $169. So there's an affiliate link for that one. This device doesn't go on sale very often. It might go on sale for like $20 less, time to time. So what I would recommend is bookmark that link that I just provided and just check it time to time. And if you see it for $20 less than what you're seeing today, that would be the time to get it. Because this is not a something you need right away, right? You can wait. So go ahead and bookmark that affiliate link because if you the links are only good for 24 hours. Otherwise, I won't get credit. If you buy it, if you link it today and then buy it tomorrow, I won't get credit. So you have to kind of click on the link and use it the same day. But go ahead and just wait. Just wait for it to go on sale for 20 bucks off. And it works really well and it's fast and easy to use. It's very straightforward. There's lots of videos online on how to use it. Okay, and then do you know if you have to pay a tariff to USA for the 4.8 to 6 if I get from Amazon Japan store? No, the price should be built in already if you're buying it directly from Amazon. Uh, but yeah, that's a good question. Let me let me see if there's any fine print about that on that particular thing. I've bought stuff from Amazon Japan before, but that was just before the tariffs kicked in. Okay, they're not saying. Let me add to my cart. I don't see anything on the page about tariffs. So the price you see should be the price you get because they have to disclose if it comes in and you have to pay more. If I go to my cart, yeah, I don't see anything that says you're going to pay extra. Wow. 'Cause I have it in my cart now, and there's nothing here. If I do proceed to checkout, let me check. I can get 6% off here. Yeah, nothing. I know on eBay they specifically disclose that it's going to be subject to tariffs and they're not responsible for that. But here, they're not stating anything like that. Because of the tariffs, price of because of tariffs, the price of stuff on Amazon is probably going to increase the next month or so if it hasn't happened already. Yeah, we're seeing minor bumps here and there. Well, let me not use the word minor. We're seeing increases here and there. But I think they're still selling the current inventory at the pre-tariff prices. So when they say they only have a few left, that could be total BS. When they say we have like 12 left in stock, but I used to never care what they said they had in stock, like one left, five left. I'm like, They're just trying to get you to buy it. But now I pay attention to it because of the tariffs, because they might say 12 left, and then once that 12 are out, the price goes up, right? Even though they have plenty in stock, the price is going to go up. And Chuck says the $800 minimum tariff exception is ending on August 29th. The shipper is responsible for the tariff, not. I thought that ended back in May. Yeah. Unless they got extended again. I don't know. But I don't worry about it. I if I try to make sure that the price I'm paying is the price that's being shown on the screen, because you do have to kind of pay attention. But I don't pay attention, day to day what's going on with the tariffs. That's what I mean is by not worrying about it. I just look at the price online. I try to make sure that all the disclosures are made and the fine print doesn't say anything that the price is going to be higher when it gets here. And that's when I make the purchase. I haven't bought anything on Amazon at this point that I paid more than what was initially in my cart. So, uh, and I don't see any reason that 45 millimeter would be any more when it got to me if I ordered it. I already have that lens, but it ended in May for China. But oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that was such a loophole. Well, I don't want to get into it. I've watched a few videos about the tariffs and things and the pros and cons, right? Both sides of it. I mean, ultimately, we're going to be paying more for stuff, but maybe we shouldn't have, I guess it just depends on your point of view. Okay, I think that's it. So I will call it here. I don't know if I'm going to do a photo editing stream this week. I have another, I have to, I have a tutoring thing. I have to teach a couple of people Friday and Saturday. So I may not have time because I have to prep my lesson. And then, so what I might do is I might have to do the photo editing stream on Monday or something. I don't know. I definitely can't do it on Friday though, unless I booked a room. I booked a room. Unless that gets canceled, I'm not gonna be able to do a photo editing stream this Friday because I know a lot of you come to my shopping stream, do the photo editing too. Also, this Sunday I may not make it this Sunday. I don't know. All of a sudden, everybody wants me to be somewhere. Like my calendar is usually pretty clear, and that's why I stream so much every week because I'm like, hey, let's just hang out, find some good deals, talk about photography, do some editing, right? Uh, but all of a sudden, man, it's like I got like 5 or 6 people trying to, they want to do stuff, and it's great. I mean, it's great, but uh, it takes away from my time with you guys. So I can't be everywhere at once, unfortunately. But everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. Support the channel by using my affiliate links. It's greatly appreciated. Or if you want to become a member and do all the other things, everything helps. Subscribe, like, etc. It's always great to be with you. And so I wish you guys a great day, a great rest of your week. Eat healthy, exercise. I want to be with you a long time. Uh, and I want to see you again soon.